Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to SOC's Spring Primary Votathon. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a el Votathon, esta producción para el voto primario de la primavera. Si quieren acceso al programa de hoy en español, por favor, marquen el número que va a aparecer en la pantalla, que es 646-749-3122. Ahí está en la pantalla y cuando le contestan su llamada, por favor, comparten el código que aparece, que es 779-328-221. También aparece en los comentarios. Folks, we're so glad that you're with us today. We have so much to share. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the executive director and lead organizer here at Southside Organizing Center. And I have to remember to go slower because poor Miranda. Thanks. And let's give a shout out to Miranda, who's doing our interpretation today. Folks who call on that line are going to hear and be able to respond simultaneously in Spanish. Shout out to Stacy, who's doing an incredible job with the production today. Jeanette, who assisted with videos and will be leading our youth at 6 o'clock. The best edition of today's Votathon is going to be at 6 o'clock, folks, with our youth. So you have to come back and see us for dinner. And then for Tony, for arranging our interpretation and being on the line as backup. We have a whole team pulling this off. I'm so proud of them, and they've just knocked it out of the park. So welcome to our neighbors and our followers. And I'm hoping we're going to see some of our super fans back with us today. We're going to be sharing today the work we do, which is civic engagement, or also called democracy work. But I want to talk to you about what that means, because I know a lot of people are shy or uncomfortable about talking about politics, but that's not what we're going to do here. Our work is nonpartisan. What that means is we don't promote any political party or candidate. We just share critical voting information and keep you connected throughout the day today to ensure you have all the information that you need to vote. We do this, we connect here. We're in person with you in the community, door to door, at events, at activities, at high traffic places. You can still reach us through all the ways you have in the past, except we're not quite open yet with our office to the public, but I think we will be soon. Stay tuned. So you can call us at 414-672-8090. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org. You can contact us through any of our social media, and you can make an appointment and we'll meet you in the community until our offices are open. And that's where we prefer to meet you anyway. Thank you for allowing us to be with you. If you're with us today, we can't tell. We can see the number of people, but we can't tell that you're here. The only way we can tell if you're here is if you leave us a comment in the comments box and say hello. And we encourage you to do that. So far today, earlier in our earlier edition, I'll just share some of the shout outs we were able to give. Our elder and a mother in the community, Esperanza Gutierrez, from KK River Neighbors in Action, joined us. Carlos Schmidt, our former staff and former data on canvassing coordinator. Gladys Morales, our founding president of the Alumni Association. Miranda Medina, our interpreter. So lots of shout outs at 8, and we're hoping we get to see some of you now at noon. We want you to feel welcome to ask any questions. Nothing is too silly to know in such a critical day as today, when we're going to be voting on who goes forward to the Supreme Court race. Let me share a couple of things about SOC before we get into the other detailed voting information. This is our 33rd anniversary, folks. We've had the privilege of serving you for more than 3 decades, and SOC started because neighbors got together to address their concerns, needs, and dreams, and we continue that mission today. And we're the longest serving Grassroots Organizing Institute on the South Side. So I'm very proud of the persistence, the consistency SOC has had in partnering with you. Our mission is to make sure that all the South Side neighborhoods are good. That's in, the essence of the work. And we do that because we work with you. We do grassroots organizing, and for you, we do advocacy when you can't be present or not quite ready for your voice. We want to make sure that every neighborhood is safe, it's livable, and it's economically vibrant. And to that, we really want to ensure that you have a voice, that you have a vote in what happens in your communities and life, and that you have a vehicle to work together. That's really our mission. Let me share with you what's going to be going on during the votathon. If you're not, those of you who are, I don't know, the younger generations might not know what a thon is. And a thon is something you do all day. And people regularly have done that historically and now to raise money and do other activities. And so we decided to do a votathon, and we've been doing this since 2020 for every spring primary and election and every fall primary and election. And we plan to continue to do it. And we're very honored to come alongside you on a day like this. So we're going to be giving you some opportunities to engage with us and rewarding that by having some gift cards. We're going to be sharing voting updates, and we're going to have a couple interviews with our strategic partners who are also in the civic engagement work. And of course, all day long, we want to be here to support you and answer questions. Let me introduce our opportunities. Listen, we know we're competing for your time on social media, at work, with your family, meeting your basic needs. And so we want to honor you for that investment of time and be able to compete against some of those other needs. And so we're going to ask you to engage with us for a couple of opportunities. The post-pandemic survey we're doing, which has a potential for you to enter a drawing for a $50 gift card. Then we're going to ask you to join our 30 plus 2 and you campaign, which graduated to 30 and plus 3. And I'll talk about that when we get to that point. And that's for you to represent your block. And that's another $50 gift card drawing you can enter. And then to join our SOC Strategic Action Session group, our SAS group, where you can be sassy if you want to. That has a $50 gift card to it as well. And then last but not least, if you engage on our social media, you'll be entered in a drawing for $25. So all today, if you were to enter all three of the first ones and then tag us in social media, you have an opportunity for a total of $175 in drawing gift cards. So that's a big deal. Now, let me tell you who can enter those drawings. You have to live in SOC's district. We're grassroots organizers, but we organize instead of on an issue, which we do tackle issues, it's a geographic area. And so you have to live between 1st Street and 43rd Street, which is now called Brewers Boulevard. It used to be called Miller Parkway. And then on the north end, really the Valley or Pierce Street, and then Oklahoma Avenue. So if you live within that district and you enter, you take action, the engagement opportunities, you'll enter to be in a drawing. And we'll be sharing those winners tomorrow live on Facebook. So you'll have to come back to find out who the winners are. All right. We were on at 8 o'clock. We're on for breakfast. We're here with you lunch, and we're going to be back at dinner at 6, like I said, and you don't want to miss that because that's our youth. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start with our first promotion. And so I'm going to ask Stacy to share the poster. Now it's going to cover my face, but that's okay. I'd rather you have access to that information. So for the next couple of years, we want to determine where best to put our resources to serve you. And so we're doing a post-pandemic survey. Listen, that was a hard time for all of us. Our thoughts and prayers to anybody who had a tragedy and who's struggling with continued illness and, trauma and all those things that came from the pandemic. But we want to look forward, and we want to do that keeping your needs and dreams in mind. So none of these surveys take more than 5 minutes. And this survey in particular helps us to decide on what work we're going to do in the next couple of years. And we want that to be directly related to what you say are your concerns, needs, and dreams. So what you see there is a QR code, which if you take your, listen, I'm old school, so I'm a little older. I had to learn to do this, so I want to share it with you all. If you take your phone and hover it over that little square with all the wigglies in it, the QR code, it'll pop up a link. And if you press that, it takes you right to the survey. Super convenient. And if you can't make that work and you want to do it a different way, like click from your computer, the link is in the comments. So you can fill out this survey immediately. Like I said, it only takes 5 minutes and you'll be entered into a drawing. If you live in our district and you finish this by midnight, you're going to be entered in a drawing for $50. And again, it's going to be shown on Facebook Live tomorrow. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Stacy. And that link will be in the comments for you to follow. Here's a little quick look at voter information that you need. Voting opened at 7 this morning and goes to 8 p.m. It shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to vote at most. If you're in line by 8 o'clock, you have the right to vote. If you're having any voting problems, here are two organizations you can call. You can call the ACLU voter hotline in English. That's 1-866-OUR-VOTE, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. And again, my site is so bad, y'all. Let me share what that our vote is. It is 1-866 687-8683. And in Spanish, it's 1-888-VE-VOTA, 1-888-VE-VOTA, or 1-88. And let's see what that number is. Can someone put the actual number up for me? I don't see it right there, but as soon as I see it, I'll share that. Or you can call the Milwaukee Election Commission office at 414-286-3491. Because you have the right to vote. And if anybody's obstructing that, like they're not letting you in, they're not letting you vote, people are acting strange or won't take your, required eligible documentation, you can call. All right. Let me share now the central website for Wisconsin for you to vote. And I want to show you if you miss anything I'm saying, or you have any questions, this is like the website to go to. So I'm going to get my share a screen and let me click on that. And then my staff will let me know when it's showing. Is it showing, y'all? All right. So myvote.wisconsin.gov. This is the English version, but you can get the Spanish version too. Here you can see voter. I'll go through each of the pages so you can see. I'm just going to do an overview and then go. Your voter information, your polling place, what's on the ballot. You can update your name and address, register to vote. Here's information about absentee voting, how you can track your ballots, and how you can vote absentee in person. We're going to start with... there's also information here if you want to become a poll worker and the election results and any upcoming election deadlines. There's other voting information for folks in the military and just general information on how the votes get counted. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that first tab. We're going to go to my voter information. And here, if you put your name, first and last name, and your date of birth, it'll show you a list of the elections you voted in. Now, that's only for your eyes. Everybody, the general public can't see which elections you voted in. But for you, you can. You can check if you're currently registered, what that looks like. And then you can do all the other things that are on this website that are on the top tabs as well. Of course, I'm not going to do that because it requires personal information. And well, that's not safe, so I'm not sharing that. But I can give you the example of how to find your polling place. So I'm going to put in SOC's address. Like I said earlier, we're not open to the public yet, but you can reach us in so many other ways. Here's our address. We're in Milwaukee. Here's our zip code. And now my polling place. If I were living here, my polling place would be at Durfler. And as you can see, it gives you the address, you can get directions, and it gives you the time. And then it gives you the number of the ward. That's like the area for vote, the area that school covers for voting. Gives you a map exactly where to find it. And then it shows you the other things that are going to be on the ballot. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So we went to your voting information, your polling place. Now let's look what's on the ballot. And so I'm putting in SOC's address again, as if it were my own. And it's telling me today, the election, here's what you're going to see on your ballot. We're voting today from these 4 candidates, or 5 if you write one in. Which 2 are going to go forward in the race to the general election? Because this is the primary, the pre. Who are going to contend for that position in April? And we have Janet Protasuitz, sorry if I slaughtered that name, Daniel Kelly, Everett Mitchell, Jennifer Dorrell, and if you have a write-in. So that's what you're going to see on the ballot. I'll talk a little bit more in a second about the elections. Here you can update your information. Again, you have to put in your personal information to get to that screen. I can't do that. How to register, excuse me. How to register to vote. You can again put your information and it will walk you through. And then how to vote by absentee by mail. And you're going to hear from the Milwaukee Election Commission about that, how to track your ballot and how you vote absentee in person. I'm not going to go through those because we have a guest. So this is the perfect site for you to get your one-stop all needs for voting. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then we're going to talk about these elections now that you saw the screen. You heard me mention that we're going to vote for which candidates move forward in the Supreme Court race, but this is what you need to know about how important that is. It might seem a little not so motivated to go because it's only one race, but this is what you need to know. It's our Supreme Court justice race. We vote every 10 years only. This is the only position that's for the whole decade. So it's super important you come out to vote. Otherwise, you won't have another chance for another decade. Can you imagine? The Supreme Court is the last stop for anything important to us, any legal fights. They make the final decisions for the next decade. There are 7 justices. The decisions they make, they're going to impact us and our kids. And right now, the court, the reports from JS Online and other places talk about the court. They expect one of the judges to be leaving, which is going to leave a tied court, 3 conservatives and 3 progressives. Now, this is a nonpartisan race, but people are able to sort of label if a judge leans one way or the other. And so from all accounts, this is where we're at, an expected departure and then a tie 3-3, which means the 7th person that gets voted today really creates the makeup for that court for the next decade. And then you might be like, well, what do they make decisions on? Well, here are some key issues. They're going to be making decisions on whether people with disabilities get voting assistance. They fight gerrymandering, or what we call the need for fair maps. Gerrymandering is when folks use technical fights to make maps lean towards their party instead of maps that really represent communities or a district of communities. They're going to be talking about who controls the taxes, local taxes, gun control, public safety. So those are really critical decisions. And so you do want to make the effort today. And it's a beautiful day considering the storm we had and the nice time we had. So you really want to get out there. If you want more information about the Supreme Court justice race and the candidates, JS Online did a video on that, and it's too long to share here and in our hour. But we're going to put it in the comments if you want like a little more information before you vote. So go ahead and we'll see that in the comments, and you can have access to that information. Now that's this race is only Supreme Court, but I want to get you ready because the primary is about getting ready for the spring election on what we can expect in that election. Thank you to staff, Antonio, for getting me some water. Everybody who knows me is like, I'm not shy on words. I'm really wordy and I can talk forever, but my throat doesn't always agree with that, even though my heart and soul does. All right. What's happening on Tuesday, April 4th for the general election? Remember, we're getting ready. Two things. There's expected referendums for the state. That's the state asking our opinions on certain things. I'm not going to share about that now because they're fighting about it. They're going to end up in court, back and forth. So we'll find out when we'll have more information when it's all settled. So I don't want to waste your time or our time on that. But you may have heard that part of the Southside District, which is like, it's a squiggly map, but 16th Street and then 20th Street East got divided up after the census. This is why we said it was so important for the census for us to participate, because after the census, they see, do we need to redesign districts? And indeed they did, and they split a district up. So there is a county supervisor district, number 14. And there's a special election for that position because the person who was elected, Jianga Zerpa, resigned, and the supervisor and the county exec called for a special election. And so there's also another layer of elections happening right now. I just want to make sure people know that person in that special election is going to end up serving the remainder of that term, which is a 2-year term, and it'll go all the way to 2024, April 2024. Right now, the candidates are collecting signatures, those people who have announced, and they have until February 28th to turn in the numbers required for that. And then if there's more than 2 candidates, then their primary will be during the general election. I know that's confusing, but because it's a special election, and the laws that require how many days and hours between things, right now they're collecting, they have to submit their papers, and hopefully everything goes good. If there's more than 2 candidates, then they'll appear at the general election as their primary. And then they'll have a regular election just for that position on May 2nd. It's confusing. We're going to keep you abreast to it. And in the tradition that SOC does, we will be holding a candidates forum for that election. And so far, we know there are 2 candidates that have announced: Caroline Gomez-Tom and Travis Hope. And so stay tuned, folks. We'll be finalizing a date with all the people who announced and holding what SOC has done traditionally over the years, and holding a candidates forum for you to really get to know the candidates and who you want to vote for. All right, let's check. Do we have any guests with us at this time that I missed to give a shout out to? Make sure that if you're visiting with us today, if you're tuning in, to drop us a hello in the comments so I can give you a shout out. I still haven't seen some of our super fans that I missed, so I'd like to see them come back. All right. Here's our next promo. The first promo, which I'll ask Stacy to put that link back in the comments, was for our post-pandemic survey. And this next promo is an invitation to be a representative of your block or a block ambassador with SOC. So I'm going to ask Stacy to put that poster up of the 30+2 with you. We want to invite you to represent your block with SOC. Adults and youth who are 14 years and up can join us as an ambassador. You will, if you fill this registration out, we'll get back to you, have an orientation, etc. Make sure you really want to do this and pump you up for all the wonderful work we're going to do together. But what you agree to is just for your block, share any opportunities that are available for your residents and listen to any needs or concerns that they have to let us know so that we can work together to address them. Sometimes people are like, my block is really hot with crime, or the city's not picking up our recycling, or there's been a tree down for forever, or we want to organize a block party. Whatever those issues are, we want you to be the ambassador for that, and we want to pair an adult and a youth for every block. And then there's benefits in it for you as well. Besides improving your block and your neighborhood and your community, we're gonna set you up with a bunch of sock gear. We're going to give you priority registration for our events and activities. And some of those are going to be free and reduced for those members who have served faithfully as ambassadors, like our annual grassroots organizing conference, our Legacy Awards Retro Ball, our quarterly forums. And you'll have first priority for some of our other programs and committees. Again, there's the QR code you can use if you take your phone. You have to live in the district, which I shared earlier. Registration has to be in by midnight, and we'll announce the winner of the drawing of the people who sign up for that with the $50 gift card tomorrow. All right, now what we're going to do is invite our first guest on the video that we recorded earlier. The Milwaukee Election Commission partners with us. And so Jonathan Zuniga was with us earlier at 8 to share voter information details with you. Please share that video. Zuniga. Hola, Jonathan.
Hola, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tammy.
Mira, we're so grateful you're with us because we know you're on paternity leave. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you have?
A baby girl.
Qué chulería.
Thank God. Healthy. Mom is healthy too, so really happy.
So now it's two?
Two. A boy and a girl now.
Happy for you and happy that you're with us and you're being so gracious during your time off. Jonathan, there's so much to talk about that's new for folks. The Supreme Court race, but also it looks like we're getting some technical difficulties with the video. I'm going to ask Stacy to start it again. The information on the county supervisor district 14.
Yes,
because there's some confusion around that, or people don't understand what's happening. Those are two things we want to share about, and then I want to welcome you to share all kinds of things that you've done in the past. Help people understand what can and can't happen now for voting, because if they ordered absentee ballots and didn't send them in, and if they're registered or not registered, like that's an important piece. What their rights are, but let's start about those elections, and then we'll talk some of the logistics about voting. So let's talk about the Supreme Court race. Help people understand what happens now and then in the fall.
Yes. So polls are open now until 8 p.m. And on your ballot citywide, you will have an office for state Supreme Court. So there are some districts on the north side that will have special aldermanic districts. But on the south side, you'll see state Supreme Court. We have 4 candidates on the ballot. So what happens right now during the primary is that you are voting for the top 2 to go to the spring election. So the top 2 candidates after this election get to go to the spring election on April 4th. So mark your calendars now. April 4th is the spring election. So we have 4 candidates for that. And then we have, or you mentioned, the special race for county supervisor. That's not going to be on your ballot on this election, okay? So it's going to come up later on in the spring. right before summer around May. So we'll be giving out those dates specifically on it. So don't worry if it's not on your ballot, it will be eventually. So not today, but you will see it, and we'll send notices to all residents that get impacted by that county supervisor. So today, you worry about state Supreme Court.
And then regarding the county supervisor 14 district, the person who got elected, Yango Zerpa, resigned. So that position became available. And then what had to happen is the county board of supervisors and the executive had to tell people what they were going to do now that person resigned. So as I understand it, and as the county board website says, they're going to go ahead and fill that vacancy, and then that person fills the remainder of the incumbent's role, right? So it'll go from now to April 14th of 2024, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So yeah, the person who wins this special election for county supervisor will serve until 2024.
Great. And then the candidates, anybody who was interested, could begin collecting nominations since Valentine's Day, February 14th, right? And then the deadline for those signatures is Tuesday, February 28th at 5 p.m., right?
I am not correct. I'm not sure about
that's what the website says for now.
And those dates are so that whole process will go through the Milwaukee County Election Commission.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't have the dates. Yeah,
no.
So yeah, we're at the city, county, they're running that process for candidates to get on the ballot. And I've been out for this couple of weeks, so that's why I don't have the exact dates right now. But yes, any questions should be directed. Any questions about that race of the county election commission should be direct of the county supervisor should be elected to the county election commission.
Yeah, great. And I'm just sharing what's on their website now, so you all can go to county.milwaukee.gov. And then it has in English county exec news press release. And that's what I'm sharing. So they did a press release on the 1st of February. And then they just want to make sure that they're complying, with all the rules about 72 hours notice before, a ballot can be cast. So et cetera, et cetera. That's where you can find the details. They're saying as of now that the primary election will coincide with the spring election. So when we're doing the regular spring election, that's when that primary will happen. And right now, the election will be held May 2nd in order to comply with all those rules. Yeah.
So what's going to happen then is that we're going to have a primary on the ballot just for that district on April 4th.
Yeah, perfect. Just to help people, because it gets so confusing. And folks, when people are confused, they tend not to move, but we encourage you, like, representation is so important. So far, we're aware of 2 candidates that are running that made it public. The first candidate, I'm doing alphabetical order, is Caroline Gomez Thomas. And the second candidate so far announcing both of these is Travis Hope. So far, that's what we know. They have to collect signatures in order to be able to move forward. And so let's talk about a couple of points about the Supreme Court race before we move on to some voting logistics. Like I said, they're the last legal word in Wisconsin. The second thing is that there are 4 candidates. And then, like Jonathan said, of those 4 candidates, and we saw that on mevote.wisconsin.gov, we'll be voting 2 people to go forward. So of the 4, that list gets shrunk to 2, and then those 2 go forward. And then we're going to share a link. If you want more information about the candidates, we have a link for the JS Online article and little video they did an article about that race more in detail and about the candidates. We can't share that here, it takes too long, but just to give you all a resource. So you'll be finding that in our, there it goes, in our comments if you want to know more about the race. And then I see that Miranda checked in to say Felicidades, Jonathan Zuniga. And Miranda's our interpreter. All right, Jonathan, let's dig in. What do you think people need to know? Like, what if people, and this has happened to me before, I ordered an absentee ballot but didn't use it. So what's in play and what's not in play with that?
Yeah. So in that scenario, you requested an absentee ballot, you have it with you, you have the ballot, the envelope, right? And you didn't return it for whatever reason. Well, today you get a chance to go to your polling place and vote. If you did not return that absentee ballot, you can go to your designated polling place and vote as you usually do. If for some reason you have, you are unable physically and have need for accessibility, you can have someone else drop off your ballot and you're inside your envelope, you sign it, you have your witness sign, and go ahead and drop it off at Central Count, which is 1901 South Kinnickinnick. That's if, right, you have some kind of physical disability that you are unable to go to the polling place and you need assistance. The Voting Rights Act protects you, and you are allowed then to have assistance from someone else that you designate to drop off that ballot for you at Central Count today at 8 p.m. We must have that ballot in our hands by 8 p.m. It can't be postmarked. It has to be in our hands by 8 p.m. According to Wisconsin law. So then, but again, if you are good, right, you just forgot to return it, you are healthy, and right, you can just go to your designated polling place and vote as regularly. Now, so if you are registered already, you voted in November, you haven't moved, you haven't changed your name, then just take your photo ID, go to the same polling place that you voted in November, and vote. So you just need that photo ID with you. Okay. So that's in regards to absentee ballots. Do you think any other questions regarding absentee?
You were clear on they can register today, and what kind of documentation do they need to take?
Yep. So let's say you recently moved or you changed your name. So then you can still register at your polling place. So let's say you change address. Go to myvote.wi.gov, the website that Tammy showed you, and look up your polling place for your new address. Okay. So if you have lived there for 28 days, you can register there now. So you can go to check out My Vote, look up your polling place, go to that polling place, and register there. So what do you need for registration? If you have your photo ID, your Wisconsin driver's license or ID, that it's current and you changed it and now you have your new address on there and everything, you can take that and that serves as your photo ID and proof of residence. But let's say you have you just moved right in January and January 1st, and you have your photo ID, but it has the old address, right? So then you can take that photo, that driver's license or Wisconsin ID, take it with you, you'll need it, and take something that proves your address. So something like a utility bill, We Energies, Spectrum, AT&T bill, right? That has your new address. A phone bill, take your bank statement, take your lease, signed lease contract. Those are some of the things that you can, more common things that you can take to prove your address. So take your Wisconsin driver's license or ID with the old address, and then take your utility bill, your residential lease, your bank statement to prove with your current address to prove your address now. So go ahead and you can register You have until 8 p.m. to go ahead and register and vote at your polling place today.
How about let's help people understand what their rights are and their responsibilities today. So let's tell people, what they can't do at a polling place, like take pictures, etc., and that people can't be, you know, trying to lobby it there. Let's share a little bit about
Yeah.
rights.
So you go into your polling place, you go in to vote, not to hang around. Anyone is more than welcome to be observers, right? You check in with the poll worker there, the supervisor, the chief inspector. You check in, you say, hey, I want to be an observer, I want to sit down here. And then that chief inspector will give you more information on what to do in that case. But if you're just going out, go vote, come out. There is no electioneering, which is anything that could influence the vote. So any yard signs, anyone handing out flyers for candidates or for political parties, that is not acceptable within 100 feet of the voting entrance. Okay, so don't do that. Go in, go vote, and then come right out. If you have any trouble at your voting site, call us 414-286-3491. We have English, Spanish staff that can help you out, English and Spanish, and then we also have a language assistance for more than 150 languages. So if you know someone who needs help, but their primary language is not English, call us at 414-286-3491 to help you out.
Jonathan, what are some of the common things people get obstructed in voting on? Like, what are some of the complaints we've heard so that they understand the realm of their rights?
I think one of them, you mentioned it, is that after redistricting in last year, some of the polling place changed. So if you already voted in November, that's the same polling place. But if you haven't voted in the last year or so, and this is the first time you're going to vote, then go ahead and go to myvote.wi.gov and check your polling place before heading out your home, so that you can make sure that you're going to the correct polling site. So that's very common thing. Sometimes too, people say, "Oh, I don't have my photo ID. I lost it. I just went to the DMV and I have my receipt that they give me because I'm waiting for the actual car to come in the mail." Right? You can use that receipt as your photo ID. Okay, so go ahead and take that to your polling place, and you can use that as your photo ID. What else?
If they're in line by 8?
If you're in line by 8 p.m., your right is to vote. So chief inspectors, the poll workers at your sites, they know that whoever is in line by 8 p.m. gets to vote. Okay. At 8 p.m., they usually put a poll worker if there's a line, so that no one else gets in line after 8 p.m. Okay. So if you're there at 7:59 at 8 and you are trying to register, they're going to help you out and you're going to be able to vote. Right. And again, if you have any issues, contact us, call us, because we want to know about it and address it immediately.
And let's walk people through that process in case they've not voted before. So they're going to get to a location. It'll have signs, voting here. You usually follow the arrows. You go to the place. And then what happens is take it from there. Jonathan.
Yep.
Talk about the people who are gonna be there, like the different players, and then what they need to do next.
Yeah. So we have poll workers, and they're called election inspectors, and then we have a supervisor who's called a chief inspector. So you're usually going to meet an election inspector who's a greeter or who's at the door welcoming you into the polling site. And then they're going to determine, okay, are you a registered voter or do you need to register today? So we have two different tables for those processes. So one is where you are already registered, and we have the poll books, right? So you go to your ward, and then they're gonna look you up. You have to say, "Hey, my name is Jonathan Zuniga." They look up you in the poll book, and then they're gonna ask you for their address, and you say your address, right? And then you're gonna go ahead and sign the poll book. Okay. So then after you sign, the election inspectors will give you a ballot, and a voter number for you. Okay, so then that's your cue to go and get that ballot and voter number and go to the voting booth, make your selections, and then put that ballot inside the voting machine. Okay, and then once you get the voter number, you can comment on Socks right here page and tell us your voter number, right, Tammy?
Yeah, thank you.
And then
Come to us and use the hashtag the South Side Votes.
there you go. So make sure you let everyone know that today is voting day. Then, but let's say that you get there and then you need to register. So then they're gonna take you to another table where they're gonna ask you a couple questions. They're just gonna make sure you're at the correct polling place because you have to register at your designated polling place, and they're gonna make sure that you have photo ID and proof of residence, which we just talked about a moment ago. So then once they verify that you have that, then they're going to ask you to complete a application, a voter registration application. We have them in Spanish and English. And then you complete that. The election inspector will review it, make sure you completed everything and that it's legibly. And then they're going to go ahead and sign the bottom part of that application. Once they do that, then they're going to give you a ballot, the voter number, and then you're going to go ahead and make your selection and vote.
Great. Lots of information, folks, to help you vote. We encourage you to do that. We thank you, Jonathan, again for being with us and helping all our community understand what's happening. And we'll be sharing this interview at 12 with folks who weren't with us right now and at 6. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, everyone.
Again, we're so grateful, Jonathan, and the Milwaukee Election Commission from the Milwaukee Election Commission was with us. All right, let's move on to our next promo of the day. As we said, there's going to be 4 opportunities to engage with us. The post-pandemic survey of priorities for our near South Side folks. I'm going to ask Stacy to put that link in the comments again in case you all missed it. And then the 30+2 and you, really rallying adults and youth to register with us to represent your block, be an ambassador. And then our third opportunity here is to join our SAS group, our strategic action session groups. Folks will get together with us monthly. That's a hybrid session. Those who want to do in person can do that in person, and those who want to join hybrid can. We'll be able to respond to things that come up, concerns, needs, and dreams. In the past, we used to start groups for a specific issue, and then it's so common to have to bring you all together that we decided we're just going to do it monthly, and then whatever issues pop up, we'll address at those monthly sessions. And you all will identify what are the problems and solutions to pressing issues, and sometimes we'll already have an identified problem. Like we did, for example, last year we did affordable housing crisis SAS group with over 80 participants to really say, hey, what's happening with renting and homeowning in Milwaukee and how can we really change this? We've done COVID-19 groups, starting neighbor association, a neighbor association in your neighborhood, etc. Again, there's a QR code for you to use or the link you can find in the comments. And I want to remind you that this opportunity is really to honor the time that you're investing to do the surveys. They really don't take more than 5 minutes to register or do. Every time that you do one, you'll be entered into a drawing for a $50 gift card. So that's 3 opportunities already for a $50 gift card. Plus, if you go onto our social media and follow or like us, and then use the hashtag for today, Southside Votes, or in Spanish, La Zona Sur Vota. Tag us, put a picture of you voting, your sticker, what number you were at your voting place. You'll be entered into that drawing. And we're going to share the winners on Facebook Live tomorrow. And now we have another great strategic partner, the League of Women Voters Voto Latino Committee. dear friend from decades and decades and a great colleague. Eloisa Gomez is with us. So I'm going to ask Stacy to share the video. And I'm sorry that the previous video was a little choppy. We'll try to work on it for dinner and see if we can smooth it out. But let's go ahead and play that interview with Eloisa. We're so grateful to have our next guest with us, Eloisa Gomez, who's the volunteer coordinator for the League of Women Voters of Milwaukee County, for the Comité por el Voto Latino Latinx Voter Outreach. Thank you so much for joining us today, Eloisa.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy, for inviting me. And I'm so proud of the work that SOC is doing in our community and really rallying people to get out and vote today and all the other good work you do.
We appreciate it, and we appreciate that you partner with us, especially on this aspect of the work that we do. Before we get ready to vote, do you have a special sweatshirt on?
I do. I know. I'm like, can you see my shirt? It's the Buck shirt.
It's a Bucks vote shirt. Yay! Well, listen, I had the privilege of going out recently to the session you had on the data for elections. And so I'm really grateful to you and your partner at Marquette University for sharing the detailed data of the vote. And what I remember from that session is, yes, we have some growing to do in terms of voting, but all in all, the South Side fared pretty well compared to other populations in the city overall, when you consider it was a post-pandemic, it's a post-pandemic time. Like, we didn't lose tons of ground on the South Side and other people did. So I think that's a testimony to the work that SOC does, to the work that you do in civic engagement and so many other organizations.
Yeah, I agree. It's very important. It's that data is so important for us to know about.
And so why don't we share from your perspective and the Comite's perspective, what are some of the most important messages you want people to really get today?
Well, the most important message overall is that we vote today, that we get on the phone and we call some people and remind them to vote. That we're at the grocery store, wearing any kind of, clothing that, is a way to remind people to vote. There's so many people that don't know that today is voting day or forget that today is voting day. And with this election, we are going to decide from 4 candidates to 2 candidates who are going to be the individuals that go on to the election on April 4th. So this is big. This is a 10-year term, and there are other positions that are up on the election, but on the South Side, it's just the Supreme Court race. So that would be the most important thing I would say that we could do today.
Yeah, I love how you said earlier, Eloisa, like, this is a time not to sit back, but this is a time you call your comadre and say, let's go vote together. And so people really need to take it seriously because, as we discussed earlier, it's a 10-year term. In other words, we won't have this opportunity for another 10 years to elect a Supreme Court justice. And then to inspire you all, we're going to be sharing a collection of videos that El Comité provided us on why we should vote. And we'll be doing that throughout the day and from here to the spring election. So we're grateful to you for creating that resource and for sharing it with us. What else would you like people to focus on today, Eloisa, in terms of the election? And then we're going to talk about the league. Is there anything else you can think of?
Well, there's a couple of things I want to say. We were talking about our comadres, reminding our comadres and our compadres to get out and vote. And I do think that is the most effective way how to remind people to get out and vote. Not the TV, although the TV is important, not Facebook, and Facebook is important, but it's the direct reminder to people who we care about, who are in our lives, that we listen to each other. And I think that is the best appeal to get people out to vote. So I just wanted to highlight, I think, further that that's really important. You think, I don't want to call somebody today. Well, text them, just as a way to remind them. and then making it easier for yourself for the April election too. That way, if you're doing it now, the April election is just so important as well. So I would say that. The other thing I think our nuestra comunidad needs to know is that for some reason we're just not doing the absentee balloting as much as other parts of the city of Milwaukee or Milwaukee County. We're also not doing early voting as much either. So I think we should try to figure out how to make that perhaps a practice. And I know a lot of people, they really prefer to vote the day of. But you know what? Sometimes things get in the way.
Yes.
Your child comes home and is not well. So instead of voting, you're doing the important thing of taking care of your child or taking care of your elderly mother or father. So things do get in the way. That's why early voting is a wonderful opportunity for us to make sure we vote. And up until last Saturday, just 3 days ago, people could still vote early. So I think we got to remember, and we got to really promote that so much more, Tammy. I just think we all have to engage in that.
And imagine you could just fill it out and mail it. You could even leave it at your mailbox and your mailman has to take it. And as I said earlier, when we looked at the website, you can even track, did they receive it if you get worried about it?
Yes.
And so imagine not having the stress today and knowing you didn't even have to do much, but put it in an envelope and leave it for your mailman, or you didn't have to be stressed and go to early vote. So thank you for that. Let's finally talk about the comité, your role with it. I know that you were the founding chair of it. And so talk to us about the purpose of it and what it does, and then how people can get a hold of you all.
Yes, thank you, Tammy, for asking that question, because we really could use more volunteers. We would love more volunteers to be working with us. I mean, we know that on the South Side, we need to do really strong outreach, not just because in some areas we have low voter turnout, but because people just need that direct connection about voting. And Comité started because we're focused. La Liga de las Mujeres Votantes is Milwaukee County-wide. In fact, we're throughout the state of Wisconsin. But El Comité, we're focusing just on the South Side. And we want to work with organizations like SAC and Voces and VIA and other trusted neighborhood organizations to help get out the vote. But we need volunteers to be able to do that, to provide the information bilingually. That is so critical. Even somebody like me who reads English and Spanish, and I could do both, but still, just knowing that information is available, okay, to me, but I can pass on the Spanish literature to family members who prefer to read and understand things in Spanish. So Comité has a bilingual commitment. We also, I think about the culturally important areas. We were at panaderias and at taco stands, promoting the vote. It's like a lot of organizations would not think of doing that. But we're, organizations like ours say, hey, we know where to reach people and we're going to do that. So I think that kind of understanding of our community is so important to reach people that way. And a lot of people really don't know about the resources that are available to them at their fingertips to be able to get information. We still have a ways to go, but I'm really grateful to the volunteers of our comité who are working hard on a volunteer basis to do this. Again, we could use more, and we like the collaboration with SOC and so many other groups to get the word out.
And if people want to join the comité or get in contact with you, what's an email and maybe a phone number that they can reach out to?
Yes, the best thing would be votolatino@lwvmilwaukee.org.
And Milwaukee spelled out?
Yes, Milwaukee. Thank you. Milwaukee is spelled out. So it's votolatino@lwvmilwaukee spelled out.org. That's a great way to get a hold of us. And we would love to have people involved in working with us.
And we'll make sure that gets added to the comments here for folks to share. And like I said, Eloisa will be sharing all the resources that you so generously provided throughout the day and from here to the spring election. And hopefully you'll be back with us on our vote-a-thon that day. Thank you and have a great day.
Okay, gracias, Tammy, and thanks to everyone.
Adios.
Adios.
We're so grateful for our partners, and we're going to go on and share some more information. Let me see if we have any guests with us that we can give a shout out to. Folks, if you're with us today, we don't know if you're with us. We only see the number of people unless you leave us a comment in the comment section. Hola, Maria Herrera. She says, our vote is stronger than what we think. Go and let your voice be heard. Heart, heart, on my way to vote. Bravo, Maria. We said back. Thank you for sharing and for saying hello in the comments. And please make sure to take advantage of all the opportunities that we're offering today to enter into a drawing and get engaged with us. All right, let's go to our next partner. We're going to show a flyer from our Souls to the Polls partners. And then I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. So Souls to the Polls, you can contact them if you need a ride to the polls. That number is 414-383-1821. 414-383-1821. So go ahead and take advantage of that. And then I'm going to ask for Stacy to show the flyer from Vote Writers, another partner of ours who has resources for you. If you need help with your voter ID, they help for free. They help cover the cost and help you obtain documents. They have a QR code as well. You can call or text 844-338-8743, or you can scan that code and to get help with voting by mail. And they have a website at votewriters.org. We have some great partners. We're all trying to help you all have a successful voting day. I want to remind you to take action. There's 4 ways you can take action and get engaged with us. I'm going to ask Stacy to share the first survey again, which is the post-pandemic survey, to help us know how to serve you better the next couple of years. Let us know what your needs and dreams are. Again, these don't take more than 5 minutes to do each. And every time you fill one out, if you get it in today by midnight, live in our district, you'll be entered for a $50 gift card for the surveys. And then the next survey link that we'll put up again is our 30+2 campaign, where you can sign up to be a block ambassador. When you sign up, you'll get an orientation to hear the details. But in short, it's just you agree to share opportunities on your block and to listen to what's happening and work with us to meet your neighbors' needs and dreams. And then you can join us for our monthly strategic action session to identify issues, problems, and solutions to things in our community. Again, each of these enters you into a drawing, and we'll do those drawings tomorrow live on Facebook. And then finally, if we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, as you know, because we're here live. We're on LinkedIn. If you go to any of those and let us know you voted with a picture showing your sticker or showing the number you are, using the hashtag Southside Votes or La Zona Sur Vota, you will be entered into a drawing. And you want to increase those opportunities. So do it on Facebook, do it on Instagram, and do it on LinkedIn. And that'll get you entered for a $25 gift card. We hope that we encourage you today. It's such democracy is such a critical part of who we are and what we do. Please stay connected with us. And if you're interested in volunteering, starting a neighbor group in your area, or if you're interested in being employed at SOC, I'll share some opportunities that we'll be posting soon. But to get you thinking, you can contact us first before we get it out. We are hiring a civic engagement person. We are hiring a community development person who'll be heading our affordable housing, opiate issue, neighborhood parks, all kinds of things. A leadership person who will be coordinating our conference, our leadership institute, our retro ball. Another youth coordinator, Jeanette does such a great job. We'll be hiring an additional youth coordinator. And we have some operations positions as well. We need a person to help with IT, marketing and communications, a program director, and we have a couple of organizing positions available. We got some new money this year and we had some vacancies. So we need an organizer for the south end of the district, and we need an organizer for the northwest portion of the district, and we need a person to head up our safety initiative. So lots of opportunities to make a difference in the community and do what you're passionate about. Thank you for being with us for your lunch. And like I said, you don't want to miss the 6 o'clock because the youth are taking over. It's my favorite part of the vote-a-thon. Thank you and have a great day.